Well, welcome in. It is the selection show, and I tell you what, we've been all over, not just the country, but the world this season to lead up until this point. All roads that led to Kentucky, no matter if we started in Italy or wherever you've seen us first, we welcome you into the selection show. It's an important night here on the grind session because we're going to be revealing matchups not only on the women's side, but the men's side as well. We're going to start with the ladies first, and we're going to get right into the action as I got Cullen Crider alongside of me, also Richards alongside of me to give me some insights and first reaction as we reveal these matchups to you at home. So welcome on in. Let's start on the women's side of things. Let's get right into it. We're going to start with the #1 seed here for the World Championship on the women's side, and that's going to go to Fort Erie International. These ladies come in as the #1 seed. They're 9-1. And they're going to be taking on the #8 seed in Albuquerque Prep. Albuquerque Prep, a young team led by Tink Gary that had Bella Hines last year. With her graduating, things have looked a little bit different as she moved on to LSU. But they're going to look for an upset against Fort Erie, but they're coming in playing very, very well. Their high win of the year against a very good DME team who is nationally ranked here in this one.
Their head-to-head matchup as well. Fort Erie beat Albuquerque 71-52. That was in Owensboro earlier this year.
All right, and our next matchup we're going to get into here is actually going to be our 4 and 5 matchup on the women's side. That matchup is going to feature Royal Crown, who is the defending world champions on the women's side. They're led by Chance Berry. Big guard coming through. She's kind of, her size is kind of that equivalent of a 6'5" type point guard on the men's side. She is a load, and she's going to look to repeat as a world champion here on the grind session. And I tell you what, the year before that, Example Academy won a world championship, and they're back once again, led by a senior class. She was young when she won a championship, but she brings back a lot of experience. Sanaya James is going to try to help lead Example Prep in that 4 or 5 matchup against Royal Crown. So we'll have that, and that's going to be in Owensboro.
Their head-to-head this year, Royal Crown beat them 81-73. That was in Toronto.
So that gives you your 4 or 5 matchup. And moving on, DME, I tell you what, they dominated early in the season. They're led by last year's Player of the Year, Gigi Battle, committed to go to Indiana. Sarah Okiki, listen, UK is hot on her trail. Texas is hot on her trail. South Carolina, all the big dogs are hot on her trail. Looking like she could probably be a #1, 2 top lottery pick as far as the WNBA. But listen, they are 9-1 in conference play. They lost to Fort Erie. It was a little bit of a shock to the masses before Erie say we're here, but they're the #2 seed. They're going to take on Academy of Central Florida. Last time we seen them in Orlando, they looked very good.
Oh, yeah, very good. Their head-to-head this year, DME beat Academy of Central Florida 91-45. So a blowout there, but we know Academy of Central Florida has been playing very good basketball. They're a talented team. Be a good matchup. And
the next matchup is the #3 and #6 seed. Legion Prep, coming out of Texas, will be the #3 seed on the women's side, 8-2 in Power Conference play. Also, Grind Prep. And listen, you got some top-ranked players in that game, according to ESPN. You think about a B who's going to Notre Dame. You think, yeah, and then you have an underclassman and minor who looks to get healthy and be healthy for a championship run. She's a top 10 player in the country as well, and that's a 3-6 matchup that could go either way.
Don't forget about Jayla Jackson.
No doubt, out of Detroit.
The leading scorer in the girls' division in grind session play.
All right, so that wraps it up for the women's side, and we'll put that bracket up for you one more time as they're going to get started in Owensboro in a couple weeks. So make sure you get your popcorn ready as we crown another world champion here on the ladies' side. Now, let's go over to the men's side, and just to kind of take you through where we started and how we got to where we are today. The preseason started in Italy this year. What a great experience where we got an opportunity to see some of the teams that ended up being some of our top seeded teams at Prolific Prep and Southeastern Prep. We saw the likes of Academy of Central Florida as we got their first look, Star Alliance and things of that nature. And then we moved into our regular season that kicked off in Canada in Toronto. And we've been rolling since. Speaking of rolling, they've been rolling, it seemed like, for years. Prolific Prep, no surprise here, is the #1 seed. They're going to take on the #16 seed, and that 16 seed is going to go to West Oaks. You guys' first initial reaction to that matchup?
Yeah, I mean, they just played about a week and a half ago, but Prolific's rolling. Like you said, the numerous wins and titles, and in fact, but then, you know, you go back to their core. Caleb Holt, who's an unsigned senior, top 5 player in the country, and then Bruce Branch III, you know, who just committed to BYU. You know, going to be a tough task for West Oaks, but West Oaks has a great unsigned senior that me and you guys love, and Musa Sai, who's a great unsigned senior, has only been in the state since November. So anything can happen. You all know that this time of the year.
And shout out to Ryan Bernardi. He wins Naismith Coach of the Year this year as well. And he has his team geared up to try to win unprecedented four championships in a row here on the Grind Session. Colin, your immediate reaction to this?
They're a four-time champ. They're on a three-peat right now, so they could go for the four-peat. It's unprecedented and just a great team.
All right, so that is our 1-16 matchup. We're going to move on to the 8-9, and this is an interesting part of the bracket because these are two really, really good teams that could possibly go deep in this thing. Number 8 is Royal Crown. Number 9 is the Academy of Central Florida. I'm sorry, not Academy of Central Florida, Gillian Academy. And I want to start with Gillian Academy. They got a kid who's playing through injury right now that has a lot of heart to show. As you see them on the screen, we're talking about Marcus Ponder. You see him throw one down. Yeah. We've said plenty of times he's probably going to break a backboard one of these days. Shaquille O'Neal loves this kid because he reminds him of himself a little bit. What's your initial thoughts? Both these teams loaded with talent.
Yeah, I mean, Ponder's been a game changer. I mean, he's been 10 games. He missed some time with the shoulder, but his numbers and his efficiency put him in that Grind Session Player of the Year, conversation. And they'll take on Royal Crown, who's as hot as any team in the league, and they can beat anybody. That's the key.
And Richard, Royal Crown, we saw last week shooting the ball very well, running their step. Caleb Drew, one of the best rebounders in our league. He's going to have to be big for them, and the rest of the committee. What's it going to take for them to pull this one off?
Jacob McGregor, one of our best unsigned seniors right now. He had a big game against Prolific last week. That was a single-digit game until Prolific kind of pulled away in the last about 3 or 4 minutes. But man, Jacob McGregor has been on fire. I want to say, X Factor, averaging more than 4 to 5 threes a game, and if he plays well, they can have success.
All right, we're going to move on to the 4-13 matchup. The number 4, the top seed on this matchup, is going to be Fort Erie International out of Fort Erie, Canada, and iSchool out of Texas. Listen, Fort Erie, they come in with a lot of experience. This is an experienced staff. I know they had a coaching change, but all these coaches have been with these kids, whether they were assistants before the coaching change, before Charles goes on to Pacific. But listen, Kimmy, he has his guys prepared and ready to roll.
Yeah, they're head-to-head this year, 74-61 victory for Fort Erie over iSchool. Very talented team. As you mentioned it, their culture, they were last year's runner-up, so they've been there before. Very talented team with experience.
And with iSchool, we saw them early in the year. They were part of those teams that were in the first event of the year in Canada. It seemed like they struggled a little bit, but then they added a few pieces. And Johnson was one of those pieces in the backcourt. And listen, these guys can get hot. This is win or go home. Listen, this is a different type of game. What's it going to take for iSchool to compete here in this one?
Keontae Gray Bear. He's got to have a big game.
I was going to say, Gray Bear is a 20-point-a-game scorer, and then Johnson's 15 points a game. So their backcourt is great. So they've got the capability, again, to knock off really anybody on any given night.
And now we're going to move on. Now, this is one where I'm circling because we don't know. I would put a question mark. I don't know who's going to be in uniform as far as injuries. They're dealing with it, but I know this team is going to be well prepared. We're moving on to the 5-12 matchup. DME Academy, Matt always has his teams ready to roll, but they got a big piece missing that is out for the year. But they got some dogs, too. They got some leadership in Kirk. What's your first initial thoughts between DME and Balboa, who are the champions of the Elevation Conference?
Balboa just wins the championship here. I assume you're talking about Kabongo.
Kabongo, yeah.
I don't know if he's going to be back. He's told me he's going to try to get back, but that obviously is a huge piece. But DME, another one of those teams, very loaded, great point guard in Nathan Kirk. You've got Ryan Hampton on the wing.
Faison.
Yeah, and Faison. They've got a 2-point guard lineup that is very effective.
All right, and then for Balboa, I mean, they got to be able to carry some of this momentum, right? We see them, they're a really good defensive team. That's always been their calling card over the years. And with Balboa, their bigs are really effective. They have a history with bigs. Everybody remembers DeAndre Ayton, and everybody remembers where he went to high school. They don't remember he started at Balboa first. And so their history with bigs go long back, and we saw some effective big post play this weekend.
It's going to be interesting to see if DME can keep them off the backboard, number one, and then how the guard play at DME is going to handle their pressure, because Balboa is going to play a lot like Prolific. They're going to bump you and be physical, and they're going to make it a drag-out fight.
And their coach, a former NFL player, so they kind of bring that physicality, that grit, that grind to the Grind Session, no doubt about that. And we're going to go back up to a higher seed here. this team is loaded too. And we talk about prolific, but this team could probably easily make an argument that they have the best talent in the country. We're talking about guys that are probably 3 or 4 NBA level guys on our team. Southeastern Prep, the Falcons out of Orlando, Florida, is our number 2 seed. They're going to take on the runner-ups from this elevation event, which is Legacy. Southeastern Prep, they feature Obinna Akizi Jr., the number 1 center in the country in the junior class, Beckham Black, and then they have 2 McDonald's All-Americans in Jackson Richardson, and then also Tony Bryan, who's going to Mizzou, going to play in the SEC. Your first initial thoughts, not only just with this matchup, but their ability to make a run in this event?
Well, you said it. They're as talented as any group that we have. And you said 2 or 3 NBA players. I think they probably got 4 or 5 NBA guys on that team, maybe in their starting lineup. Now, again, there's a question of injury and who's going to be ready. Who's, will they have Jackson Richardson back? We don't know that. But they're as talented as any group. They can even match talent with Prolific, in my opinion.
And you think about an underclassman, not only Beckham Black, who has kind of that pedigree, a brother that's already in the NBA, but a C.J. Rosser, who's already the number 1 junior in the country. What comes to mind about this team, what it would take for them to make a run and win a world championship here on the ground?
Well, we've seen C.J. last week, and it looked like he didn't have any rust whatsoever. And it looks like he's grew even more. He looks like he's 6'11", almost 7 feet now. So. It's
2 guard, by the way.
Yes, 2 guard, which is crazy. But at the same time, Legacy's story is pretty cool. They come here on a 14.5-hour bus ride. They get off and they play. They win
4 hours later.
4 hours, and they play 4 hours later, and then now they're in the championship. So and they're a fun team to watch. We've seen that today. So.
So also with Southeastern Prep, obviously David Peavy, this is his first run at a world championship, so on and so forth, and it'll be interesting to see how this goes moving forward. Okay, now these are 2 teams that could really surprise some people in this next matchup. We're going to talk about the 7-10 matchup. Mount Zion Prep. Also, the number 10 seed is Huntington Expressions Prep. 2 great coaches, 2 young teams, probably some teams that can make some noise in the future, but they're looking to make noise right now.
Yeah, both teams. Mount Zion Prep 7-6 in Power Conference play, 6-8 for Huntington Prep. So very evenly matched up. Both teams have athletes. Both teams have good guard play. It's a great matchup.
Zion Green on your screen right now. This young kid, listen, already surpassed 1,000 points in his career, and he's super, super talented, as we know. And then Huntington Expression, they have sophomores, freshmen that could jump out the gym. We know the pedigree of Arkell. He's had Andrew Wiggins in the past. He's had Miles Bridges in the past, but he's super excited about this young kid on your screen in Edwards.
Yeah, Tristan Edwards, a freshman from Toronto. Hendrik Pertel, a sophomore from Estonia. I think both of those kids are great, love their game. Tristan Edwards right now is the 2nd leading shot blocker on the grind session, and that's just from his activity and being active and athletic. And, they've got a lot of talent, so another great matchup.
And they got a great personality in the point guard Reed, too.
Dejan, yeah. Dejan Reed had a big games back in Orlando, and remember this, guys, they took SEPA all the way to the wire and had a last-second shot that went in, and, the officials went back, and, of course, it was still in his hands. But great confidence builder going into the tournament.
Don't forget about Aronov either. Aronov's shooting the ball around 44% from 3. He's been a great point guard, steady all year long for Huntington Prep.
So, again, that matchup, man, it's going to be very interesting to watch. No doubt about that. All right, number 14 seed. The number 3 seed is BV Academy. And also the number 14 seed is Anthem Prep. Now, BV, they came through our play-in event that was over the summer. It was in Kentucky. Teams had to earn the right to make their way onto the grind session. They have definitely done that on the screen. They have seemed like they've worn that chip on their shoulders throughout the season, the way they play, the way they prepare. A ton of kids from Canada, from the 6, looking to make moves here in Kentucky.
Trust me, BV Academy, the number 3, that's a seed that everybody's looking to avoid. Because they can knock off anybody right now, especially with how they're playing at this time of year. They're peaking at the right time, and they've got guys that have filled their roles and understand who they are.
Now, Anthem say, don't forget about us. We played BV before. We were in L.A. during All-Star Weekend, and we took them to overtime. We came up a little bit short. Well, I'm sure they're licking their chops to have another shot at it.
It's going to come down to guard play, in my opinion. If BV Academy's guards can speed up Anthem Prep's guards, then it's going to be a long night. But if Anthem Prep's guards can handle that pressure and, like you said, and get them in the half court and take high-quality shots, it could be another overtime game.
Next one up, 6 and 11. The number 6 seed is going to be Academy of Central Florida out of Orlando, Florida, and also Winston-Salem Christian as well. And I would start with Academy of Central Florida. I've said it off the air, behind the scenes. I'm going to say it right to you. They've been one of the most consistent teams all year long. And it started with them in Italy in the preseason, but I'll tell you, the chemistry these guys have together. I guess everybody kind of playing their roles, dominating their roles, buying into their roles, from Marte Barnes all the way to Simon Guy, the 7'3" guy. And here's the deal about Simon, and I've heard him say it. Sometimes he starts, sometimes he doesn't, and he'll tell Coach, whatever you need me to do, I'll do it. If it's play 20 minutes, 8 minutes, whatever you need, Coach, I got you.
Yeah, their head-to-head matchup this season, 79-60 win for Academy of Central Florida. I think both of these teams, you know, Academy of Central Florida, the top 3 steals leaders in the league in grind session play are from Academy of Central Florida. So that tells you their defensive pressure. Well, it's the same kind of style as Winston-Salem Christian. So that's going to be a clash of styles right there that are pretty similar, and you know it'd be interesting to see what happens there.
And listen, Winston-Salem, even though it's been an up and down year for them, and Coach Lowe says sometimes I got puppies, sometimes I got dog, and listen, this team has kind of been one or the other depending on what night you catch them. But listen, he does have a lot of experience with Floyd and some of those guys who have been in battles with him. What's it going to take for them guys to wake up and get this done?
Well, they have the 3-headed monster. You know, they have Kenny St. Louis, Floyd, and Josiah Freeman. But the thing I'm going to be interested to see if Kenny St. Louis and that guard play can handle the pressure from Academy of Central Florida. And I'm just going to be honest with you. That's my dark horse to win it all is Academy of Central Florida.
Dark horse to win it all.
Dark horse to win it all.
Speaking of that, let's get
Not
right
saying
into
favorite.
it.
Not saying favorite.
Not saying favorite. Okay. Listen, everybody going to remember that. You're going to be reminded of that. I promise you that as this goes. His Twitter is going crazy right now. Okay, so early impressions, matchups that stand out to you. What are you looking forward to the most, either on the men or women's side?
Definitely the 6-11, the one we just, I mean, that either one of those two teams can make a run. You know, they got enough firepower in their backcourt, can make enough plays. And then also the Crown Point and Royal Crown and Gillian Academy, because I mean both those teams are hot right now, and anything can happen in those games. And I would want to avoid both of those teams also.
Hey, well, listen, don't mind what we say. You got to come on the court and you got to play, right? And so it's going to take. We've seen this. We've set courtside for many world championship runs. And just from your experience, Colin, what does it take? I'm talking intangibles, not just talent. All these teams have Power 5 type talent. All of them have, and a lot of them have NBA level talent. Kids we're going to see play in the league one day. But it takes a different level of grit and grind to win a world championship here on the grind session.
It's, you know, of course, it's protecting the basketball, but it's how you deal with pressure, how you deal with the defensive pressure, but how you deal with pressure in late game situations with shooting and protecting the basketball. We talk about it all the time, man. Tournament time feels different. It just does. The energy's up. It's like playoff time in the NFL. Like, the game is different in the playoffs. And that's what we're about to see.
And listen, you followed us all season long, so don't stop now. Get your popcorn ready. Get settled in, because it's going to be an exciting trip to a world championship, both on the men and women's side. These kids have worked hard. They've worked their tails off. They have traveled all over the world with us for these moments right here. And it's going to get started next week right here in Bowling Green. After that initial weekend, we'll move things over to Orangeboro, where we'll be down to 4 on each side. Actually, the women's are going to start in Orangeboro with 8. And then we'll crown a champion when it's all said and done. All right, listen, you can start talking trash now. You can tweet out your predictions. Parents, let us know. You don't want to miss it. The road to a world championship, it starts right now, right here with the grind session. All right, folks. Good job.